Hello.
Hey.
Wow.
Wow. Literally my new favorite sweater of yours.
Thank you.
Wow. Can you see it in the frame?
I think so.
Wow. We're back.
We're back. We're going to talk about ceremony courtesy, so your guests won't be saying, "Wow."
So bad.
Horrible.
Oh, wow.
Horrific.
All
we
right.
might cut that out.
No,
All
please don't. So
we're talking ceremony etiquette today.
So this topic came from Mariah with Humble and Grace Photo. So shout out.
Thank you.
I thought this was a really, really good topic. So when she answered, in our little Q&A we had put out on Instagram, she was like, it's not really a question, but this is a really good thing to cover. And it really is not only for guests, but vendors. Because, yeah.
Let's get into it.
All right. So a little more to cover as far as guests. And just like general etiquette. I think most people, I would think, know this. I don't think everyone does.
Let's state for the record.
From things we've witnessed. Sure. And I don't think any of it's with bad intention.
I don't think so.
I'm going to be like, all these things that we list, I really don't think anyone's like showing up to a wedding with like, bad intention.
Yeah.
No. But it's just things that we see kind of over and over kind of in different ways. So we kind of like a different perspective.
Yeah, totally.
All right. I just made some notes.
I love it.
So, because we're trying to stay on track.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we'll cover guests first, then we'll get into vendors.
For sure.
Definitely for guests, show up 30 minutes early. 30 minutes is pretty good, at least. Some people are like 10 to 15 minutes, but again, depending on venue, parking situations, things like that, just plan accordingly. You don't want to be the person, if you can help it. Again, sometimes there's like circumstances that happen where you're showing up during the ceremony and it's, and then people are like distracted and it's kind of like, obviously I'm sure you don't want to feel like all eyes are on you anyway, you walking into a ceremony. So
you can't get to your seat.
You can't or you don't have a seat,
right.
And then you're standing in the back. Horrible. So show up early, be prepared. Don't show up too early, but I think 30 minutes is like a sweet spot.
Yeah. And just leave time.
Yep.
The 5 P's, proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Wow.
Might cut that out.
No, we should just call this episode Wow.
Wow.
Wow. So you're attending a wedding ceremony.
Wow.
No. Okay. We are silly, goofy mood.
No, but seriously, I would say, it's confusing for the guests. Should I be standing here? Mm-hmm. What do I do? Should I go try to find the seat and potentially interrupt the ceremony?
Mm-hmm. Churches can be echoey.
Churches are echoey when you're walking around.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Preparation.
Absolutely.
Okay. Put your phone. This is a huge one.
Yeah.
Put your phone or iPad. iPads kill me, but mostly it's the phone. Put your phone or iPad away during the ceremony. Please don't take photos or step into the aisle. Please. Not just for us. Yeah. Like, this isn't coming from a point of view of us, like, being like, oh, you're ruining our shots. We're there to do a job that was, hired. We were trusted and hired to do a job from the people you are there for the wedding ceremony, the people that you love that you're there for. And by you doing that, not only can it ruin shots, obviously, that you can't be redone. Like, ceremony cannot be redone. But the couple, especially when they look back on their video or photos, they want to see your face. They do not want to see your screen. I can't emphasize this enough. Again, if there is somebody out there who doesn't mind people taking photos and videos during ceremonies and stuff, by all means.
It's totally preference for sure.
But you just have to know that it will impact
the final
product.
It can definitely impact it. And I know for photo, worst comes to worst, someone doesn't listen, like, hey, we're having an unplugged ceremony. Somehow they pull an iPad or phone out.
I swear.
There obviously are tools.
Yeah, we can edit people.
That we can edit out.
Sometimes you can't.
But sometimes you can't. So there's the only way to 100% ensure that it can be not in your photos is if you don't have it in there to begin with.
And video, you cannot.
Video, I will say the AI tools are getting crazy. But the only way that we can truly guarantee it is if it's not in there in the first place.
And truly, just I think there's such a difference in, again, seeing people like in a truly unplugged ceremony where everyone's put their phone or devices away and turned them off too, because you don't want it going off during a ceremony. They're engaged. They're literally watching what's happening. There's emotion. It's a real raw reaction that can't be staged or redone or anything like that. And I just think more couples than not would want that. They hired us there or whoever to, be there for a purpose. Some people that they trust to do a good job. And all couples will share the photos and video with their guests. Absolutely. Like you're going to get these photos and their sneak peek film or their full film, later. I always wonder what guests do with the photos they take on their phone. They're not usually very good. And it's like, you're sacrificing you're there for the couple, not for your photos.
That's a great point.
That's where I stand on it. Now, if the couple wants you to take photos, hey.
Yeah, some couples really do love that, that paparazzi type vibe, and I can totally respect that. But
more often than not, they don't.
Yeah, but most of the time, I think unplugged ceremonies are the way to go.
Yep. So that covered kind of a few different things. Another big one, and this is usually because someone's trying to get a photo, or it's usually when bride or whoever is walking down. Or the processional after they've been pronounced, married, and then they're walking back down, and so is wedding party. People step into the aisle.
Oh, yeah.
To take a photo.
It's a great point.
Which will block view of photo, video. Again, just be present in the moment is the biggest piece of advice.
That's a great piece of advice. Absolutely.
A big one is usually, because again, people are excited. They're, like bride's walking down. They're excited to see her, all great things, but then we don't see bride, we see your phone.
Right.
We see the bride through your phone.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to your point, I mean, it really is, excitement. We're so overjoyed.
Not bad intention.
I get it.
Yeah.
But I think being present you worded that so perfectly, like being present to just be in this moment. That they like we said, like you hired somebody that you trust to do this.
Yep.
Enjoy this moment.
Right.
Totally absorb it.
We're
and just allow us to do our job.
We are an impartial party to be there. Granted, we do get emotionally attached to our couples, but we are there to do the job, and you guys Absolutely. Can just enjoy. So. Yep. Yeah, it's a big one, and it's tough, because it's not something like, I mean, I'll be honest, I have no problem if I'm able to, but usually in those moments I can't because the ceremony is literally happening, to just gently say to someone, like, hey, could you step back just a little bit? And most people are like, they're not aware, that they're doing, they're like, oh my God,
excitement.
no worries. Sure. But most of the time I can't do that during a ceremony, if the ceremony's kind of already happening, maybe, but
totally
just,
no, great points.
Don't sit in the front row if you're not family.
That's a great point.
Some ceremonies, it doesn't matter. Some people do not reserve the front or the first 2 rows on each side for family, but more often than not, I think this is just very commonly confused. I think just a lot of people are like, oh God, I got front row seat. Hell yeah. They just don't know. So most of the time, and there'll usually be a little reserved sign on the side of seats or say reserved for someone who's passed away or, something like, just be respectful of signage.
Absolutely. And
all signage.
Generally, as a rule of thumb too, if you're not immediate family, I think that typically the front rows are for the immediate family.
Yep. Either people that are walking down, like parents or grandparents, or extended people that maybe aren't walking down, but they're sitting in the front 2 rows. So, okay. And then the last topic, or whatever.
Yep.
Bullet point if you will.
Note.
For guests was, and I get that this one again is just, again, you have all your family in one place. Everyone's very excited. It is not with bad intention, because you want the family photo of like your family and people that, again, you don't normally all see in one room together. But if I can advise, just to try not to shoot photos during family photos when the photographer, whether it's me or someone else, is shooting the family portraits. What I normally do in this situation, because, you know, there's normally like people behind me with their cell phones taking photos of the groupings I'm setting up, which again, I totally get
Excited.
I get it.
Totally get it.
But the worst thing ever is when they get their photos back and everyone's looking in different directions.
Oh, yeah. For video, it's cool.
For video, it doesn't really
It doesn't
matter.
matter,
I was going to say, because you're just
sure.
kind of capturing like people
Candid
interacting.
moments. Yep.
Yeah.
In between pictures.
The in-betweens.
Yeah.
What I normally do is I kind of tell like the family that's behind me, I'm like, okay, go ahead and get your shot, you know, take whatever picture you want. But then I need everyone to look at me, just so, again, because you know, it's my job to make sure it's the perfect family portrait. I think family portraits are more important than a lot of photographers probably make them out to be. I get that it's not the most fun part of the day, like for us. Although I feel like we do have very cooperative families, and it's very like we plan all this ahead of time with family shot lists. It's very efficient, but I know when we got our photos back, and like from that perspective, I was like, oh, like this is really very special. Again, not everyone's in the same room at the same time. So it's important. It is very, very important. Despite it being a brief and hopefully not chaotic part of the day.
Yeah.
It can be.
And the family photos are important, because those are the photos truly that end up in frames and in albums and families' homes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's super important.
Yeah. So yeah, I just say either try to not take the photo if you're a guest, and just know that will exist. Again, just out of self-awareness and respect of the fact that people might be looking in different directions, and then those are the pictures they paid for.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. But if you need your photo, like you said,
I don't know what other photographers may do in this situation. I get it. So I kind of like let people have their moment. I'm like, okay, this is when everyone's going to look at phones. And then now, because we're also trying to follow a timeline.
Absolutely.
It's really important. It's not just, if we had all the time in the world, I don't care, like take your photos.
It's a great system that you have. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So, okay. So now we're getting into vendors.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So I think it's very, very important that photographers, videographers, and now content creators are more of a thing. We haven't really worked with any content creators.
I've worked with one content creator.
Did you?
It was a wedding at the Treasury in St. Augustine.
Okay.
And the experience was incredible.
Yeah.
We all worked together, very cooperative, and
doesn't take away from what you do, like whatever. Yeah. But it's just so important to like everyone to, and this goes for all vendors, but like specifically, obviously the ones that are working literally like side by side, like photographer, videographer, usually coordinator, for
content
reception,
creator.
Content creator for reception, DJ, you know what I mean? Like it's important that your vendors, move swiftly and seamlessly and like respect what everyone is doing, because we all have our own job to do.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really important. I'm obviously grateful that we have a very, very good workflow and balance together, clearly. For the most part, other photographers and videographers that we do work with when we're not shooting photo and video side by side, we work with a lot of similar, photographer friends or similar videographer friends, and we all like love and respect each other. It's all like really well balanced, and to not be in each other's shots, because like ultimately it's not like a competition of like who's doing better. It's like ultimately for the couple and like their day being represented well.
Absolutely.
So, I would say don't move around a lot or a ton to make yourself
during
very
the ceremony.
Known. Yeah. During ceremony. I try to be as invisible as possible.
Yeah.
A very silent ninja.
I love that.
Is what I go for. She's small. Where is she? Yeah.
Actually, not even that. Just.
She's silent. She's small. She's stealth. No.
Might be a new phrase.
Well, and for you too, some videographers move around a lot during ceremony. I and you can elaborate on this, I don't feel like it's super necessary. Like you usually have something set up on a tripod from one angle, usually a side angle. And then you're down the center, out of the way, but down the center, you know, in one way or another. And like you moving around then gets in the shots of the photo. And then you don't want photo and video. Like it's, you know, it's just kind of common sense.
I would really, really, it would hurt my heart for someone to not want video because of this. Like, hey, are you guys actually going to work well together? And I don't want it to be too much of a distraction, so I'm just not going to go with video. I mean, that really hurts my heart personally, because there's such wonderful moments that you would want captured, and to be able to hear back your ceremony and all of these wonderful things that we've talked about.
Yep.
So anyway, to circle all the way back to through all of this, I would say, personally, I like to have 2 angles on the side, so I can bounce back and forth. Those are on tripods, so they're not moving. Very discreet. And then personally for me, I like working with the photographer to make sure that everything that he or she needs is, you know, they're getting that, whether that's, you know, a wide shot from the back. You know, a lot of times I hear videographers like are unwilling to move, so
or they just do a stationary tripod like in the middle of the ceremony aisle, and you're like,
well, right, exactly, to my point. I was like hey, I'm not going to move this tripod, so I can't get my beautiful wide shot that the couple requested.
It's terrible.
So you know, those types of things, working with, you know, having those other things in place, so that way when it comes time for the photographer to get that shot, hey, no problem, I've got those other 2 angles to cover me, I can move with you, and we can all kind of work together to get what we need.
It's supposed to be cohesive and comfortable, and not, you know, like, and I know at least with you and I we kind of have like a thing down now where I feel like I get my wide shot pretty much at the beginning of ceremony once guests have sat down, and you kind of just move back just a little bit. Like nothing truly has happened that's important for video yet.
Right.
Like even sometimes I can get it right before even like talking really has started and the officiant's starting to get into which you need, you know, their spiel. So I try to get that first, get it done, and then we just kind of cohesively like move into where we need to be.
And just to add to that real quick, I would say, as a videographer, be willing to move with the photographer, kind of try to move in tandem.
Yeah. You're not in each other's shots then.
Yeah, absolutely. And having those extra angles, I noticed really helped me kind of have a little bit more relief, and like, okay, I know that I'm good if I can move with the photographer, knowing that I have those other 2 shots. It just adds like a security blanket to be able to do that. So, but moving together and working, like you said, working cohesively so we can show up the best for the couple.
And if you're in, like I always say, like if I'm in your shot, if I can see you in my shot, I'm in your shot.
Yeah.
So like we're very often than not, we'll sometimes spot each other in each other's shot, but we get out of the way like pretty quickly. We'll be like, hey Nick, hi Crystal, like just gone. But like going off of that, I would say don't. And this is preference, because some people have asked for this, where it's like the shot from, I'm not sure if I'm going to explain this correctly, the shot like the kiss from behind the couple, so you see the whole ceremony behind you. Beautiful shot. Kind of difficult to achieve when there's photo video. Granted, you could have those other 2 angles, but it's definitely difficult for video, because if there's a photographer behind them shooting them for the kiss, which is the straight on angle, to me is for photo and video is ultimately, I think, the best, you know, for kiss and then walking back down. If there's a photographer behind shooting that for video, it's almost impossible to get around unless you can like angle it correctly. So
absolutely,
if you have that request specifically, it can be difficult with multiple photographers, unless this is communicated beforehand and the photographer can perfectly angle themselves behind the couple and they are not like in the video shot. It's got to be like very specific. So just kind of like certain things to think of, and then, you know, just communicating with your videographer if you are a photographer, like, you know, how close are you shooting? Like how close in are you on the couple? How far can I walk without being in this, you know? Because like I know for myself, I don't want to be in their video. Like I don't want to. You do not want to see me like over here hunched over trying to get the shots and in the video. So, and I mean, it really just comes down to like being aware of your surroundings. And this is also goes off of all the things with vendors. Like you should all work together. You should all love and respect each other. Be excited that they're to do their job. It's not a competition.
Right.
You know, being aware of your surroundings and just not stepping in front, or truly just doing, I call it like the dance. You're just always moving to where the other is not.
It really is like an art form.
It is like a dance. It really is.
It is. And it's so wonderful when everyone's working together in this way to kind of just all come together and work so cohesively. I feel like we've been doing that with our weddings recently. I mean,
it's
our
entertainment
has been incredible for the couple. Planners are always asking like, hey, do you need anything? Photographers asking, hey, are you got everything you need? You know, all just helping each other to create this amazing energy and space for the couple is the ultimate goal, in my opinion.
Yeah. So. And granted, again, kind of touching on, you know, different styles have different, you know, ways. Our personal photo video style is very specifically, especially video, like not intrusive. You don't feel like you have like, you don't feel like you have like a media team like on top of you all day, which I mean, some people might like that. I feel like more often than not, some people don't. They kind of just want it to be and to happen. Because you want to be present. You don't want to feel like you're always like on for the camera.
Of course.
And also when people are less aware of us, it's better.
Well, you get more candid moments.
You get more
authenticity, and it just translates better for video. For sure. Yeah.
So, I think that's like very, very, very important to I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll leave it there. If it comes back to, we can talk. I will say, I know it is a stylistic choice. I really do think that that documentary style really does just like wonderfully complement like a wedding day. I think I've seen the styles of where, you know, we bring in boom
for
arms.
video.
Yeah, for video specifically. Or you're bringing in boom arms and, you know, crazy huge lighting for interviews, like, and stuff like that.
Drones inside reception spaces.
There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people love that like high production value type of set, but I think that there's a medium, like a balance between like beautiful cinematography and candid moments.
Yeah, and just style of what you want your video to look like.
For sure.
You know, so again, for you, I feel like it's just something that you, again, kind of naturally mimic what the photographer's doing. Yep. Very rarely do you step in and like have them do anything specifically, because usually you can just get it naturally as it happens.
Yeah.
Which feels more natural on video. Photo is different.
Yep.
But some videographers are more hands-on and do want to direct and do want it to feel more directorial. Mm-hmm. So when you look at different video styles, I think you can tell, but like you got to figure out what you prefer.
Absolutely.
I will say, I think more directorial video styles can take more time, because then your photographer is directing you and then your video is directing you.
That's a great point.
Not really any right or wrong way, but in that case specifically, photo and video has to work well together, because otherwise then you're literally doubling like these poses, and then you're going to do it again or do whatever, you know, the video wants to do. So you have to allow time for that, because it matters.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I think that's covers it. I mean,
100%.
If we forgot or missed anything.
Leave us comments. What are your faux pas, your ceremony faux pas? Leave us some comments of what you guys think, and hopefully we covered it.
Yeah.
I think this was
wow.
Super
cool.
Full circle wow. I love it. I think
doesn't Post Malone have a song named Wow?
He does.
Okay, like we can't like fade out with that copyrights.
Don't think so. Yeah, I think YouTube will take that right now.
Wow. All right. On that note,
Post Malone, I'll be all for it.
Yeah. But, he wouldn't care.
Yeah, but
all righty.
I think we can leave this one where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great episode.
It was good.
Yeah. As always.
All right. Thank you for listening.
Yep. See you next time.
Bye.